Greg, I know you've always been a pretty confident guy, but how much better do you feel about your situation this year than maybe you did a year ago?
I think I feel, it's night and day as far as my comfort level and my confidence level in this offense. I think keep trying to remind myself this is my first year to return as a starter since my 8th grade season. So it's been a long time, and I'm very, very proud to have obviously had the success we had last year. But I think a lot of people realize that there's so much more. We've really just only scratched the surface, and I think we feel very strongly in our ability to improve and really kind of focus on the key areas where we kind of fell short a little bit last year.
At this time a year ago, the question marks were on the offensive side, and people felt like the defense was going to help carry the team. Now the shoe's kind of on the other foot with questions on defense. How does it feel with the kind of shoe being on the other foot?
Well, obviously, the way we kind of look at it and the way Coach Saban's recruited and everything, I think we all look at it as not so much as a rebuilding year, but more as a reloading year. So there's capable guys all over this roster, and all of them, just like myself and the guys that were on offense last year, were just itching for an opportunity. And I think up until this point, a lot of people have made that, taken advantage of that opportunity, and I think our defense will be very similar in the sense to. People are ready to make an impact, and people are excited and focused and have studied a lot. Guys that have been in the program for a couple of years now, so they feel confident in themselves. I always have confidence in Coach Saban's ability to get people prepared, and whether that's the offense, the defense, I know he's going to have us ready, not only for the end of the spring, but also for fall, obviously a long time from now.
Greg, last year there were reminders all over the place about the Florida game and how you guys came up short in the championship game and all that. I mean, what will be the motivating factor this year?
Well, it's tough to say. Obviously, we're not really trying to look for motivational material. I think the motivation's coming from within, and the feeling that we had, because that Florida feeling a couple of years ago still resonates with a lot of us. And some of us weren't there, but I can still remember what it feels like to come up short. And I know a lot of people on this team and a lot of the leadership on this team, refuses to let that happen again. So I think that we've gotten obviously a chance to experience a lot of success last year, and obviously finishing on top. But I think we all want to be right back there. I think we understand what it took to get to the top of the mountain. We understood the difficulties and the way the air gets thinner as you kind of reach the pinnacle. So we've been there before. So I think people are confident, but I think people are still hungry in a sense that once you've been to the top, why would you settle for anything less than that?
Greg, can you talk about, on a personal level, what it means to you? Last year, start the football season, you were stepping in as a starter, having all those new feelings, and now you're going into next season at spring ball. I understand that, but just talk about where you're at personally and how far you've come in the last year.
Well, I've come a long way as far as not only so much as my physical ability, but more so in a sense that I feel so comfortable. I'm watching the film, I just look like a completely different player. Compared to last spring. I mean, as we kind of really broke down the film from our first practice and kind of out there today, usually coming back from spring break, it's usually a pretty tough day. And, for the offense and throwing around and, it's just difficult because you've been away from each other for 10 days and we just kind of picked up right where we left off. Obviously, there's things to improve on, and I think we're all looking to make those improvements. But as far as, personally for me, I just look like a different player the way I play the game and when I watch myself and evaluate myself, because I'm extremely hard on myself, but I just look so much more relaxed and comfortable, and my play has kind of shown that in the first couple practices.
Are you already setting goals for next year?
I think I don't think that's really a time to set goals. I think there's time to set goals for the spring. I think that there's areas that we all want to improve on. Some of those areas are third down efficiency. I think that those are the things we kind of, and really from the 50 to the 30 in plus territory. So when we cross that 50, kind of getting into field goal range was a little bit difficult for us last year. Some of the areas that we really want to pick up on, and some of the areas that Coach Mack has really kind of emphasized as we entered the spring. So the first couple of days was mainly been just kind of sharpening up, knocking the rust off, but I imagine that we'll probably get started on those things as soon as possible. But as far as goals for next season, I don't think it's the time to be making those. I think short term is the way to think right now, and that's the way that Coach Saban has instilled in us right now.
What about the White House trip? What years from now, what do you think you'll remember most about that?
The White House trip. I mean, that was such a special opportunity. I mean, it was so special, and as I'm a ridiculous patriot, and I think a lot of the players would probably say the same. And I love our country, and I was very, very fortunate to to obviously go up there. But it was a special moment. And the fact that not only getting to visit D.C., that's obviously a special place, and any vacation would be, very fulfilling if you got a chance to go up there. But the fact that we were up there to be congratulated by the president himself, that was obviously a really special moment for me. And one of the things I really wanted to do more than anything up there was go and visit the Korean War Memorial, and the Vietnam War Memorial. That was kind of the top of my list. So obviously getting to meet the president was fantastic, and I was very, very thrilled to have had that opportunity. But obviously seeing the other things, it was really special. Just all day was really a day I'll never forget.
Greg, going back to the defense, Dante was a guy who obviously had the injury last year. Now he's come back and able to do the things he's able to do this spring. Just talk about the effort he gave to be able to get back as quick as he did. I know a lot of people.
Right. Well, I think obviously being an athlete, when you're around an injury like that, you understand the difficulties and how tough it is to come back. I mean, it's just not so much as a physical thing, if it's a mental thing. It's so much, and just the rehab is just ridiculous. And it's so long and it's so grueling. And when you're seeing the team have as much success as we did last year, Dante was itching more than anybody to be on the field. I think that really motivated him, and he's come back and he looks fantastic. He's in great shape. He's flying around. He's really, really become a great leader for our defense, and you can never say enough good things about Dante. He's such a great person. He gives tremendous effort, and he picks up on things so quickly. That's why he was able to play so young. So he's a great player, and obviously, anytime you see a guy go down with a knee injury like he had, you question their future altogether. I mean, I think you've seen a lot of guys come back from that injury, not the same player, but I can't say that for Dante, because he's he worked as hard as he possibly could in the weight room, and the rehab room, and he comes back not having lost a beat.
What about your role as a leader more this year? A lot of guys left from last year. What are you to the quarterbacks and the rest of the team as a leader?
Right. Well, I think as far as leadership are concerned, I think a big reason why we were as successful as we were last year is because of the leadership. And I think the great thing about last year is we had so many different leaders. We had so many, at every position, it seemed like we had a guy that was willing to step up and be vocal. So obviously with a couple guys lost, but there are other guys filling in. And, people understand how impactful leadership can be, both positively and negatively on a team. And we've experienced both ends of that spectrum since I've been in college here. But really, we have great leadership, and I think personally for me is I'm just going to try to be the guy's friend right now. I think getting back, and obviously sometimes it's tough to take the steps you want to take and be successful, because you can remember back in the Texas practices and stuff, we were just clicking on all cylinders. But of course, you got to remember we're 14 games in. So starting back though, we're so much farther ahead than where we were last year. It feels like to me, and I think as far as leadership is concerned, I think it's very impactful. I think a lot of guys are really trying to do their very best to impact the team in a positive way.
Which other guys are stepping up?
It's not really anything to name names. I don't think anyone needs to really be congratulated or kind of given a pat on the back for being a leader, because that should be a role that people want to take on. That should be a role that people are excited to kind of grab a hold of. So, we got a guy at every position. I'll say that again. I mean, we really we have the same guys from last year that were leaders. A lot of guys left, but people are filling in nicely for them. And I'm sure if you look hard enough throughout the roster, you could probably find the leader at each position. And everyone's done a good job up to this point because of the effort that we've given in practice.
Has it been a good bit different going against secondary without those three corners who seem like they were here forever?
Well, the thing I'll say is going against those guys, obviously, they were so, obviously being as veteran as they were so savvy when it came to playing the game. But as far as talent's concerned, I mean, we got such talent in the secondary, both with the new guys and the guys that have been here a year or two, and they're playing great. I mean, everyone's doing a great job. They're really making it difficult for us on the offense, and obviously Coach Saban's is as good as there is when it comes to being a secondary coach. So he has those guys ready, and they're really practicing hard to give them great effort. I mean, there's a lot of competition, and you can see them really kind of stepping up to the challenge. And everybody that's involved is doing a great job up to this point. And we obviously look for them to make some more improvements, but we don't want to have them make us look bad. So we got to make improvements at the same time.
What's kind of been your impressions of Phillips so far?
I'm sorry?
Your impressions of Phillips so far?
Well, right now we haven't really gotten to spend a lot of time together. he's just trying to learn it as much as he possibly can. He's doing a good job. He's a quick learner. He's a dedicated individual, which obviously, and if I'm evaluating quarterbacks, hard work and toughness are probably right there 1 and 2. And obviously, he showed the ability to be a very hard worker. So, as far as ability and stuff like that are concerned, obviously he's got great ability because, he's, Coach Saban and them thought very highly of him. So we're not surprised in the way he's able to throw the ball. But as far as the intangibles, I've noticed that he shows great character and great work ethic. So, I look for him to be a great asset to the quarterback group and obviously to the position in years to come.
Are you back healthy? Ribs?
Oh, I feel good. Yeah, I feel really good. I feel really solid. Those ribs were pretty tough deal for a while. I probably didn't feel good, honestly, until probably the beginning of March, honestly. And it was a tough deal. We're probably around end of February, probably was about when I started feeling good. But it was a tough deal, and I'm glad to be back from it full speed and 100% because it's never fun to hurt when you breathe. That's just not a fun deal. So it's good to feel normal again. I got enough problems breathing. I got asthma, so. I got enough problems breathing as it is.
How limited were you in the Texas game because of the ribs?
I felt like I could go. I could feel it, but it's one of the things that's not going to get any worse. So, we've all kind of heard of injuries like that where you're going to have to play through pain, but you're not going to, make the injury worse, and it's not going to hurt you any worse tomorrow than it did today. It's just going to be the same old, and you just got to play through it. So, our training staff did a great job getting me prepared, and I didn't feel really all that hindered by it, honestly. The great thing is we just never really had to go out and make a big statement through the air. I mean, Mark and the offensive line, Trent and all those guys played fantastic, so we didn't really have to do a lot through the air, which made things a little bit easier on me, obviously. But it was great, and obviously that's in the past now, and I'm glad to be moving forward. I'm glad to be feeling healthy and doing so.